Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Sunday, March 30th. Ian Cameron in the house. Alex B. Smith is absent today, little under the weather. He will be back with us tomorrow on the Monday edition. So we got a solo mission with yours truly on the Sunday show here with a great Sunday card. We've talked about how late in the season now that football's been over for a while, but the last month or two we've gotten these bigger cards on Sunday, not just 2 or 3 games, but 8 games here on this Sunday. So very much looking forward to it. Some pretty interesting games, big-time games too, including teams battling for playoff positioning. So really is a great Sunday of hockey coming up, and we will get to those games in just a moment. First, we'll look back on the recap of Saturday's action. Well, it had to end eventually, and it did last night. It was one hell of a tremendous run for me with the consecutive days of profitability in the NHL. 9 straight profitable days entering Saturday, but unfortunately, we couldn't get it to double digits. We couldn't get it to 10 as we gave some back yesterday on the Saturday slate. So disappointing to see the streak end, but that just means you start another streak. The day started pretty well. We had the over by Fecta in Buffalo, Philadelphia, easily cashing there. 7-4 Flyers with the victory over the Buffalo Sabres. The renaissance of Matvei Mishkov in the post-Tortorella era continued. He had another strong game for the Flyers, a couple of goals for him. And once again, he flirted with the hat trick in that game. Flyers offense has been, what can you say, 13 goals in 2 games under the interim head coach, Brad Shaw. They're still suspect as fuck defensively for sure. They did give up 4, but right now, I think what I've noticed too is what an over team this is right now. They were with Torts, but it feels like offensively, Brad Shaw's just letting them, be creative, make plays offensively. If they turn the puck over, so be it. We're not going to really put handcuffs on and restrain these players from making a play offensively. So, like I said, it was that kind of game, just up and down, a lot of goals, not a lot of defense, which you'd expect with 2 teams not making the playoffs. But Flyers, 2 in a row now since the coaching change with that 7-4 win. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 5-3 over the New York Islanders. They pretty much won this game in the first period, although credit to the Islanders. They got down 4-0 and then decided we better start playing. They made it 4-3, and they did have a lot of chances. You got to give Jonas Johansson credit. He played pretty strong yesterday in net for the Tampa Bay Lightning, getting the start for them. 38 shots faced, only gave up the 3 goals, was able to hang on for the win at the end, and Islanders teased everybody with a comeback, but it falls short as Tampa gets the win there, 5-3. We did hit the over. We had a small Islanders and draw bet there, but we did hit the over, which was good to see. It was the primary bet for me in that game. St. Louis, man, maybe the win of the entire day was St. Louis. You know how difficult it is to play the Colorado Avalanche at Ball Arena in Denver, and how even more difficult it is to shut that team down when they play on home ice. And it was just a clinic of a team effort defensively by the St. Louis Blues. They only gave up 29 shots on goal. Jordan Binnington, rock solid, as he's been for weeks now. 1 goal allowed. A terrific win for the St. Louis Blues, 2-1 over the Colorado Avalanche as they shut down the high-powered Avs, who are used to scoring 3-4 goals minimum usually when they play on home ice. An outstanding win for the Blues, and a win that I don't want to say it cements them being in the playoffs, but they continue to put more and more of a gap and more distance between themselves and the group of the Canucks and the Flames in particular. It was just an absolutely outstanding performance by the St. Louis Blues there in that game. I know there was a call or two that did kind of go the Blues' way, no doubt. And I know Jared Bednar was upset about it, but it was a great win for the Blues yesterday, 2-1. 9 straight wins for the Blues now with that victory over the Colorado Avalanche. So outstanding job by them. They're playing their guts out. This team too, while they've been scoring goals during this win streak, their team effort defensively as a group, they're playing connected all over the ice as a 5-man unit. back-checking forwards on every shift, helping out the D. It's been really, really something to see with how they've played, and a great win for them. It's 2-1 yesterday over the Colorado Avalanche. I did have a piece of the money line. The only thing I'm upset about is we couldn't get a third goal for St. Louis to cash the team total. That kind of frustrated me, but it is what it is. New Jersey bounces back from a shutout loss to Winnipeg. They beat Minnesota 5-2. Good effort by them. Good bounce back from them. And typical Minnesota can't withstand prosperity. They beat Washington, and they flounder yesterday at home against New Jersey in that game. Vegas beats Nashville 3-1. Not much to say about that game. Vegas did what they should have done, beat a team you're better than, and they were able to do that 3-1 win there over Nashville. The Ottawa Senator, credit to Columbus, man. That was a brutal spot. They were in that barn burner with Vancouver, back and forth, fire wagon hockey type of game. They lose, obviously, 7-6, that crazy game Friday night, back-to-back for them, and they end up, not going away. They heavily outplayed Ottawa in the third period, even being on a back-to-back. 15-7 were the shots. They got it to within 3-2, but Linus Ullmark was great in the third period and helps Ottawa hang on for a 3-2 win. This was another one, like the St. Louis team total over, which fell short. This was frustrating with the Ottawa team total. They had 2 goals early in that game, and then they got the 3-2 goal in the third goal in the second, but they get no goals in the third, and we fall short with the team total. So that was unfortunate there with that. In my opinion, as far as that's concerned. But Ottawa does get the 3-2 win. The Toronto Maple Leafs do something that's very rare this year, winning in LA for the road team. 3-1 for the Leafs there in that game. Great third period. I don't think they were particularly good in the first 2 periods, but they played a great third period on the road to tie it up. Austin Matthews getting a huge short-handed goal. Tavares just continues to be turning back the clock. He's been phenomenal. He gets the go-ahead goal and the empty netter to put the game away. It's now, a 5-game goal streak for Tavares. He's been phenomenal during this stretch, and a nice win for Toronto, and a nice bounce back for them, obviously, and doing what Toronto often does, giving their best against the best, falling short against the weak, and they lose to San Jose. They come back. They beat Los Angeles there 3-1, and that Atlantic Division race is just going to be a dogfight right till the end. Toronto with a slim 1-point margin of a lead for the division over Florida and Tampa Bay. That's going to go right down to the end of the season. There's no question. Detroit 2-1 against Boston. I guess the Bruins some steps forward. They at least didn't give up a shit ton of goals this time, but they still lost. And the Red Wings get a nice 2-1 win there. A very important 2-1 win. And how about the fact that now that Detroit has put a few points and wins together the last few games, and because of Montreal struggling on a losing streak, Columbus hasn't been great the last week or two. They're now 1 point behind the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference right now. So pretty crazy to see that the Detroit Red Wings are, that close again as far as the wild card is concerned. So they're still very much alive and very much in it as well right now. The Detroit, actually, you know what? I forgot the Rangers are now second wild card with their win against San Jose. So 77 for the Rangers. They're actually 3 back of that second wild card because of the Rangers win, but they are still right there. And like I said, huge 2 points for them last night against Boston in that game. Edmonton 3-2 win in overtime against Calgary. So heartbreaking for me with the best bet. I don't regret it. It was a good play. They led most of the game. Edmonton never led. Edmonton never led until they obviously won it in overtime. Leon Draisaitl robbed money from me is essentially what happened in that game. He just single-handedly won that game for Edmonton. I mean, he was terrific in his return from injury. He got 2 goals, 3 points on the night, the game winner in overtime. I mean, Calgary played a pretty solid road game. They defended pretty well. They checked pretty well most of that game, and to fall just short, frustrating for sure. But Edmonton gets a win 3-2 there in overtime. Costly. They do get a point, Calgary, but they're running out of games. They do have a lot of games in hand on St. Louis, but they are still 9 points behind them right now in the race for the wild card because of St. Louis just keeps on winning. So at Calgary, I should say 7 points behind St. Louis. Now, they have 3 games in hand, Calgary, so this is not over for them yet. They're 7 points back. It seems like a lot, but they have 3 games in hand on the St. Louis Blues. So it's imperative for Calgary, to make the most of those games in hand. because, like I said, St. Louis doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. But solid effort in a loss from Calgary. But again, Leon Draisaitl was the difference. And again, 50-goal season for him with it last night that he gets to once again. Great job there. Not much to say about the late games. Dallas beats a sad sack Seattle team 5-1. Kraken just not good enough. Dallas, give them credit. Dallas again outshot and outchanced on the box score. 36-21 Seattle were the shots, but they win the hockey game. That's been happening a lot lately with Dallas. Outchanced, outshot, the flow of play going heavily against them in the game, but they win, and they get the 2 points at the end of the night. Ottinger was stellar yet again, which is great to see. He's heating up at the right time. For the Dallas Stars. They get a 5-1 win. And credit to the Rangers. They bury the San Jose Sharks after just a horrific loss to the Anaheim Ducks, 6-1 last night over San Jose. And that has placed them in a second wildcard spot, much to the chagrin of John Massey, the Rangers fan who wants no part of this quote-unquote dumpster fire, as he stated, as he called them, being in the playoffs. But yet here they are. And it's interesting to see how that goes, how it goes as far as that's concerned. But like I said, interesting to see how this wild card race goes really in both conferences, but especially the East. The East, it is still very much anyone's wild card to get. Montreal still in it. Detroit still in it. Columbus and the Rangers and the Islanders are still right there. So it's still going to be an interesting battle right to the end. All right, let's get into Sunday, and we will begin with a game that starts at the top of the hour. Montreal, Florida. Florida minus 300 home favorites. 5.5 the total. Shaded to the over here in this game. Florida, obviously, Brad Marchand's debut. They get an overtime win against Utah. He assists on the game-winning goal. Almost felt poetic that happened. We'll see if he can keep it rolling here into this game against the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal needs a win desperately. They are fading a little bit. They've lost 5 in a row. The schedule's been pretty tough on them. Islanders, Colorado, St. Louis, who are red hot right now. Now, the Philadelphia loss is a bad loss, but they ran into Philadelphia first game after firing Tortorella and the coach bump. They just got the Flyers at the wrong time. And then, of course, the Carolina game, they lose 4-1 on Friday night to Carolina, which never an easy game, obviously, especially when you play them in Raleigh. So it has been a pretty tough schedule for Montreal, but it's not going to get any easier now. You're playing the Florida Panthers, and not just playing them here, you're playing them as well on Tuesday. You are playing the Florida Panthers once again, but this time you're playing them in Montreal. This is a home-and-home series between these two teams. They play in Montreal Tuesday night once again. This is a big-time price to give Montreal. They've beaten Florida 3 straight times, 2 in Montreal. Earlier this year, at the end of December, they won in Florida 4-0. If I recall, that was Jakob Dobish who was in net and shut out the Panthers in that game. Now, you're not going to get Jakob Dobish here. You don't want to see Jakob Dobish here, probably, because he hasn't been as sharp lately. Sam Montembeault is expected to start for Montreal against the team he started his career with, Florida. Sergei Bobrovsky is confirmed in net for the Florida Panthers here in this game. It's just a very, very – all these games are important for Montreal. They need to stop the bleeding. They've lost 5 in a row, but like I said, the schedule has not been overly kind to them during this stretch either. They played a lot of games. They've also played games where, they've played tough competition. Like I said, even the Flyers game, they just got the Flyers on the wrong night coming off the coaching change. So we'll see how this one plays out, but I like Montreal to get on the board in the first period again. What's fascinating about this 5-game losing streak is that other than the loss to Colorado, Montreal has scored a goal in the first period of all 4 of the 5 losses that they've suffered during this losing streak. So they've done good job getting on the board early in these games, but they have not done a good job, obviously, winning these games and playing strong for the full 60 minutes. I think the goal in the first period is worth a look. We talk about how when you're talking about a minus 300 or greater favorite, I'm interested in these spots to take the dog to score in the opening 20 minutes. I do like that look here in this game. So I'm going to take Montreal to score in the first period of this game. I'm going to dabble in them at plus 250 just because I like getting the motivated, the extremely motivated team. Florida's motivated too to win the division, but there's a difference between the urgency of winning a division versus an urgency to make the playoffs and save your season. Montreal's urgency is ramped up even more. And they've played Florida tough. So I'm going to take a small shot on them at plus 250, a flyer bet there on the Canadians at the big plus price. I like the first period over, 5 straight first period overs for Montreal. It's worth noting during this losing streak, the first period over has cashed each time. So first period over, it is going to be an over by Fecta, over 5.5 as well, but I like the first period over more than the full game. So that's where I'm going to go with this. As far as props go for this Panthers and Canadians game, you talk about for Florida, we've been waiting to see how Paul Maurice would deploy Brad Marchand. And certainly it looks like he's settled on him being with Bennett and Samoskevich. They were a good line against Utah. So that line looked like they developed some chemistry. Bennett got the overtime winner, assisted by Marchand. So maybe there's some good looks there as far as that line for props. Samoskevich, Marchand, Bennett. They did show that immediate chemistry. They all got a point in that game for the Florida Panthers in the win against Utah. So that's something worth mentioning. Gustav Forsling. What's troubling you, Gus? What's troubling Gus? Gustav Forsling for Florida on the blue line is on a 3-game point streak. Sasha Alexander Barkov on a 2-game point streak as well. We've got assist streaks as well for Gustav Forsling. 3 straight with a point. All of them were assists. 2 straight assists for 2 straight games with an assist for Alexander Barkov. So a couple of streaks that are worth mentioning here if you're interested in the prop market in this game. I'll keep an eye too on Alex Newhook centering the second line here with the Montreal Canadiens. He scored against Philadelphia. The shots on goal have been kind of elevated, higher volume of late. So kind of looks like maybe he's going to be in line possibly to find the back of the net. As Jonathan Davis points out, Barkov 6 goals in 8 games versus Montembeault. Laine power play point plus 330. Yeah, he's a power play guy. I mean, if you're ever going to bet Laine at this point with Montreal, with everything we've seen, just take his power play point. You could take goal, assist, and regular point, but most of the stuff he does and damage he does is on the power play. So yeah, definitely interested there. Yeah, Samoskevich goal, I don't mind that. I've talked about Samoskevich. I think he's got value. And like I said, that Bennett, Samoskevich, Marchand line looked like they developed some instant chemistry on Friday night when they beat Utah. All right, Vancouver, Winnipeg. We've got Winnipeg minus 210 to minus 220 home favorites. The total here is 5.5 to the shaded heavily to the 5 in some spots, actually. This total has fallen to 5, believe it or not, in some spots. So I get it. Historically, we think of Vancouver as a defensive team, has trouble scoring. Winnipeg, we think of them as kind of the same. But Winnipeg has scored 3 goals plus in 6 of their last 7 games. Vancouver has gone over the total now in 6 straight games, 9-1 to the over in their last 10. They've been scoring goals without Pettersson. Like I said, they don't miss that guy at all. During this road trip, they've scored 3 goals plus in every game. This road trip, by the way, for Vancouver ends this afternoon. This is the 6th and final game of the road trip before they finally head back home. So we'll see how this one plays out. That's the only hang-up I have here with taking Vancouver. I kind of want to back them. I will back them at small at this price at plus 190, but I don't love that it's the end of the road trip. They could be dragging ass. They could be a little bit, jet-lagged, a little bit fatigued coming in here to this game, but it's a nice price for a team that's battling their tail off right now. They're only 2-3 on the road trip, but the losses were games where they were right there. They should have beat the Rangers. Shesterkin stole it. The St. Louis game, they were right there. They lost in overtime. And the Columbus game, they were up 3-0 in the first period. They ended up losing, obviously, in the shootout. So just too big of a price for the motivational factors that heavily favor Vancouver, with Winnipeg likely just going to, should be safe winning the Central. There's just way more urgency on the Vancouver side. They played Winnipeg tough. They beat Winnipeg 6-2 just a few weeks ago in Vancouver. And I have to bet over 5. I have to. It's at this number, it's just too low. 3 straight head-to-head games over. 2 straight head-to-head games between Canucks Jets over here in Winnipeg. 5-1 to the over in the last 6 meetings. Vancouver's on this 9-1 overrun in the last 10 games we've talked about. Winnipeg, actually, believe it or not, 3 of their last 5 games have gone over the total as well. 5 is just too low right now at this point in time. So we'll take the over. We'll get it at 5. It's minus 135, the price on that. And I'm going to take a small shot with the Canucks. And also the draw here. I think the draw could be live. Winnipeg has gone to overtime in 3 of their last 6 games. Vancouver, 3 of their last 5. Dog and draw split for me, small, over 5 as well. So that's what we're on here with the Canucks and the Jets. Prop-wise, Kiefer Sherwood. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we got to start riding the wave that is Kiefer Sherwood here. He's been very noticeable here for this Canucks team, been playing solid for them. We'll see if he can keep things rolling here in this game. Obviously, they're still without the usuals, Hedel, Hoglander, Pettersson, Velarde still out on the Winnipeg side of the equation. Ehlers on a 5-game point streak for the Jets. I think he's probably the guy to roll with for them. DeBrusk has been great. Can't talk anyone out of Jake DeBrusk. 4 games with a point in a row. Garland and Suter. Pius Suter's been great playing in that role, vacated by the injured Elias Pettersson. So Pius Suter, I do think is worth a look. So I'm taking some dog shots today to begin the card. Little shot on Montreal, little shot on Vancouver here to get the day started. All right, Buffalo, Washington. Washington minus 320, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. And the beauty of taking these big dogs is you just hit one of them, profit big time. As far as this game goes, Buffalo, Washington, huge price for Washington. And Washington's not the kind of team I'm looking to lay numbers like this late in the season, coasting their way through easily to winning their division. There's nobody around them. It's not like the urgency level is huge right now for this Capitals team, but they are off a couple of losses in a row at Winnipeg in overtime. Minnesota on Wednesday night, they lose 4-2. So back-to-back losses. They've had 2 full days off. They haven't played since Wednesday night. And I think you're looking at this kind of a situation here where Washington might take Buffalo seriously, knowing they've lost 2 in a row. They have a huge rest advantage that's significant at this time of year when the schedule is so condensed. They haven't played since Wednesday, so they should be very rested. Since Thursday they haven't played. 2 days off. They should be well rested, live legs, full energy. And meanwhile, here's Buffalo, 3rd game in 4 nights, back-to-back here on the road, 2 early starts in the afternoon, and a 7-4 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers yesterday. Although that was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in net, not the red-hot James Reimer, who's going to be in net. And I kind of say that half jokingly, but half serious, because he's actually won each of his last 3 starts with Buffalo. Went to Winnipeg. They beat the Jets. Also got victories over Ottawa and Pittsburgh. After that, Reimer got the start in all 3 of those games. But, you are playing the Washington Capitals now. Pretty damn good team. Off 2 losses. May not be as easy here for James Reimer here in this particular matchup. Buffalo has played Washington tough 3 of the last 4 meetings. The Sabres have actually won 3 of the last 4 meetings. I like this draw. I'm going to take a shot here that the Washington Capitals maybe bounce back and take the Sabres seriously, but that we still may get some overtime here. When you look at this series history, 6 of the last 10 have gone to overtime or shootout between these 2 teams. That is pretty strong. Pretty strong stuff. I mean, they went to a shootout earlier this year as well in Buffalo. It was a 4-3 final score there in favor of the Sabres. So it's too strong a series history, in my opinion, to not bet the draw here in this game. And I'm going to go with the over by Fecta here as well. Sabres and Caps, 1.5 and 6 to the over here. Sabres have scored first goal, first period in 7 of the last 8. I agree. I think Buffalo to score in the first period is not bad, and I might dabble on that. It's in our system. The system is triggered because Washington is a north of minus 300 favorite. And in these spots, we often like the dog to score first, or not score first, but score in the first period, score a goal in the first period. So I don't mind the Sabres shot to score in the first period at all. I think that might be worth a lot. I just think as the game goes on, Buffalo wears down. And again, with these back-to-back situations like Buffalo's in, you'd expect their best period, their freshest period, to be the first period. And then the legs give out, and then they kind of wear down a little bit. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here as far as this game goes. Maybe Buffalo scores early. Washington kind of wears them down later, as I think the schedule catches up to Buffalo. And the fact that they're facing a team that's got 2 full days off of rest, which is rare at this time of year, like Washington has. So, like I said, that's the way I'm going to approach it. Not taking Buffalo to win, not at all. But I am going to sprinkle on the draw and the over by Fecta. As far as props go for this game, Protas for Winnipeg, Ovi last goal. This could be one of these games as a big favorite. They lead in the final minutes, and Buffalo pulls the goalie, and outcome, and then Obviously, Ovechkin live maybe to score the final goal. Alex Tuch points in 2 straight games, by the way, for the Buffalo Sabres going into this one. I think when you look at the other props here in this game, Tom Wilson, by the way, has done some significant damage versus Buffalo in the past. Tom Wilson is someone that obviously I think Buffalo, from a personnel standpoint, probably doesn't match up too well with. So Tom Wilson props probably worth a look here in this particular situation for them. We'll have to see with Jack Quinn. You not see nothing like the mighty Jack Quinn. He scored 2 goals against Philadelphia. He's been a bit of a streaky scorer in the past with this team. Does that maybe get him going? He's playing with Peterka and McLeod. I like the kind of the chemistry that we've seen from those 2 players. And keep an eye on what Lindy Ruff does with Zach Benson, because Zach Benson had been playing with Uri Kulik and Tage Thompson. Benson got benched. He was Zach Benchedson yesterday against Philadelphia for a bad turnover that ended up costing the Sabres. If he gets back in the lineup and not scratched today, Benson, sometimes players, when they screw up, they go overboard to try to make amends and have a big effort and try to make a big impact the next game. So keep an eye on that. If Benson plays today, he might be worth a look for a goal prop. Utah, Chicago. Utah minus 220, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. This is an over by Fecta too. I mean, Chicago can't defend, can't keep the puck out of the net. We've talked about that. And regardless of whether it's Knight or Soderblom in net, look at the Chicago defensive numbers. 5 allowed to Vegas, 5 allowed to Jersey, 4 allowed to Philadelphia, 4 allowed to St. Louis. The one game they were decent defensively, I guess you could say, was when they gave up just 3 to the Kings, but we know the Kings don't always score on the road consistently. 6 given up to Seattle, 6 given up to Vancouver, 4 given up to the lowly San Jose Sharks. You get my point. Chicago's not playing much defense right now, and it's been that way pretty much all season, but it's been that way especially lately. That might carry over here. These teams played, by the way, in Chicago earlier this month, and it was a 4-3 overtime win for the Chicago Blackhawks in that game. 3 straight overs for the Blackhawks entering this game as well. That's it for me, over by Fecta. Here's the thing. Chicago, I don't trust them, especially defensively, to bet them. But Utah right now, they're falling out. They're falling out of the playoff race. They're not making it. They've lost 3 in a row to Detroit 5-1, Tampa Bay 8-0. They better effort against Florida, but they still lost that game 2-1 in overtime. And really, it only got to overtime because of Vejmelka. They were outshot 32-14. They're fading Utah. I'm not laying a price like that with them right now. And I think reality is setting in. They're not a playoff team. They're not going to be a playoff team. They're too far out now at this point. They're not getting any help from the teams that are playing the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis just keeps on winning. It's put Utah now 11 points out, and they only have, 10 games to go. They are not making the postseason. It's that simple. So you wonder where the headspace is, where the mindset is. What's the mentality of the Utah Hockey Club right now? It's not a mentality I trust as a minus 220 road favorite, even against a team like the Chicago Blackhawks. So it's just going to be the over by Fecta here for me in this game between Utah and Chicago. And as far as goal props are concerned here for this game between these two teams, we got to ride Donato again. Donato for Chicago, absolutely sensational run, sensational season that he continues to have for this team. And he's worth a look once again with Bedard and Mikheyev on that top line. He's been great. Bertuzzi's been heating up, so maybe consider a look toward Tyler Bertuzzi for Chicago. If I'm going to look at someone on the Utah side, Dylan Gunther looks like he's, and Cooley and Keller are always your top choices as far as offense is concerned. I'll throw one out at you because it looks like he's been called up from the minors, and he played against Florida 10 minutes. He's got 51 points in the AHL with Tucson, 19 goals, 51 points. An old familiar name. Was with the Oilers organization for a bit. Kyler Yamamoto, who is now going to be with the Utah Hockey Club, been called up, and he's playing on the second line, possibly once again here this afternoon with Barrett Hayton and Nick Schmaltz. So if he does indeed slot into that second line, that's great value for Kyler Yamamoto, maybe to find the back of the net here for the Utah Hockey Club in this game. All right, Ottawa, Pittsburgh. This is the another afternoon game. By the way, I want to point out 6 of the 8 games are matinee afternoon games. 6 of the 8. There's only 2 games at night on this Sunday card. So make sure you're aware of that so that you get your bets in on time. Ottawa minus 140, road favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the over. This is a 5 p.m. Eastern time puck drop here in Pittsburgh. So there's no way I can back Pittsburgh, but here's the concern. Schedule dynamics. 2 days off for Pittsburgh, another thumping against Buffalo. Does this team have any pride left? We thought for a while they were showing that pride. You know, they had won the 4 in a row, 5 of 6, and now the pride has just gone down the drain all over again with these last 2 games. I mean, getting blown out by Tampa 6-1 is one thing. Tampa's very good, playing great. But getting blown out 7-3 by Buffalo is another thing. And that is that's a disgrace. I mean, that's all there is to it. And do you got any pride left in you if you're Pittsburgh? I mean, my goodness. If they do, if they do, they're supposed to show up here in this spot, and they're supposed to have a bit of a scheduling advantage because they've been off since Wednesday or Thursday when they got their ass kicked in Buffalo. Ottawa is playing their 3rd game in 4 nights, their 4th game in 6 nights. It's been a lot of games this week for Ottawa. They played Tuesday at Buffalo, Thursday at Detroit, Saturday at home to Columbus, now back on the road here against Pittsburgh. So it's a huge scheduling advantage here for Pittsburgh. I just don't trust them enough. They've been awful. And one of their beat writers, Dan Kingerski, I've read his stuff a lot. He said it's almost like they've mailed it in, the last few games. So how do you trust Pittsburgh like that with what we've seen the last 2 games? And Ottawa's won 2 in a row. It's obviously like they're trying to cement their playoff spot. Another reason to not trust Pittsburgh is Ottawa's beaten this team like a drum. 6 straight head-to-head victories in the series in favor of the Ottawa Senators. 6-0 in the last 6 meetings versus Pittsburgh. I'm not laying $140 with Ottawa in this spot just because Pittsburgh has got the scheduling advantage, but I will bet Ottawa team total. Now, which fell short last night, I get it, but I'm taking it again today. Ottawa team total here, over 3.5. It's actually, you know what? It's actually 3 at Bet MGM, and I'm actually going to bet this at Bet MGM, which offers the half-goal increments with the team totals, and that way I can get it the Ottawa team total at 3. Instead of the 3.5, just in case they only get 3 again like last night. But I think they do get to 4 here against this Pittsburgh team, because if you look at Pittsburgh's losses, and very important to point this out with Pittsburgh's losses, they almost always give up 4 goals. When the Pittsburgh Penguins lose a hockey game, they give up 4 goals. That's just the way it's been for them repeatedly. You go and look at their game history, their game log, and you look at all the recent Pittsburgh losses. 7 goals allowed to Buffalo in a loss, 6 to Tampa, 4 to Florida, 4 to Vegas. Go on down further. I mean, almost every loss the Pittsburgh Penguins suffer, they give up 4 goals. So, to me, Ottawa should get to 4 here. Pittsburgh team total is actually not a bad consideration either, because I like the over by Fecta here as well. But the team total for Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh's going to show pride, what's the one thing they're good at, or the one thing they're decent at, I should say? Scoring goals. It's the one thing they can do, halfway competently, mostly because of the great top line with Crosby, Rust, and Raquel. If not for that line, I don't know where the hell this team would be. But that line has been great. So, and I could see Ottawa here on the back-to-back, and Forsberg, who's been spotty. He's going to get the start, by the way. For the Ottawa Senators. Most likely, it's not been confirmed, but I'm sure on a back-to-back, it'll be Anton Forsberg getting the start here for Ottawa. I don't know where Mike Sullivan goes with goaltending, but neither one is playing all that well. Jari or Nedeljkovic here the last few games. So there you go. 36 of the 45 losses for Pitt. Yeah, 4 or more goals. So that's why I said, why lay minus 140 with Ottawa? Take the 3.5 team total at plus money, or you could play it a little safer like me and go over 3 minus 125, which is what I'm going to do with the Ottawa team total. And I think the Pittsburgh team total is not a bad option. I've done this before where I've hit all 4 bets over by Fecta and both team totals over. I think that's the way I'm going to go about playing this game here, Ottawa-Pittsburgh. Because look, Pittsburgh, if we're going to see an effort, if we're going to see some dignity from this hockey team, it's going to be because it's going to be at the offensive end, because I don't know if they have a defense to shut down anybody. It's that bad. And it's turned that bad again defensively for Pittsburgh the last few games. But if they have any dignity and play hard, then it's likely going to result more in offensive success more than defensive success. So I think this is an approach that can possibly go 3-1 or 4-0 in this game. You take Pittsburgh team total over 2.5. You take Ottawa team total over 3 with juice, or 3.5 at plus money, depending on what you prefer. And you take first period full game over. I think if you bet those 4, you go 3-1 or 4-0 in this game. I think you got a good chance for that in this particular hockey game. And neither goalie is, even Forsberg for Ottawa, is not someone I'm willing to go to war with to totally shut down Pittsburgh here in this spot. As far as props for this game, you look at it, we've got, you would think it's a Crosby game when you're off 2 straight blowout losses. 9-game point streak now for Sidney Crosby. Thomas Chabot, goal and an assist might be worth a look. Jake Sanderson, too. He scored last night against Columbus. These defensemen getting involved. Drake Batherson, 4 straight games with a point. He's been on a roll. So goal prop, assist prop, anything you can find with Batherson could be worth a look here in this game as well on the Ottawa, or on the Ottawa side of the equation with Batherson. Jeez, mine went blank there for a minute. What else? Zetterlund. We've talked about Dylan Cousins got a point yesterday, and we talked Perron. I know he didn't score last night because I used him as the bargain bin figures, but Perron's been good lately. Zetterlund, I think, is going to get on the board at some point. He's been shooting the puck. He's just got the 1 assist. He's up there with Tkachuk on that top line, and or not Tkachuk, but Stützle and Giroux on that top line for Ottawa. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, Pinto, parlay Pinto, Robert, always worth a consideration, especially in this area, because sometimes when he plays in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, he's got family in attendance. So maybe that gets Pinto going. But Batherson right now is the one to watch up front for Ottawa. He's been in good form. All right, New York Islanders and Carolina Hurricanes. Shout out to Nicholas Earl. He's in our group chat. He has also been on this show many times, Betcast, as a guest. Not as much recently, but he's been on the show, like we're talking years ago. Nick Earl would be on this show a few times. He also did the New York Islander team preview video with us during the offseason. He will be in attendance. He's gone to school at East Carolina. He lives in that area, Raleigh, North Carolina, right now. And he's going to go to that game cheering on his New York Islanders as they look for a huge 2 points and a bounce back performance after losing to Tampa Bay yesterday, taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. We've got Carolina minus 340, upwards of minus 360, believe it or not, here in this game. And the total 5.5 pretty much across the board here in this game. Again, this is a situation where Carolina is probably locked in, entrenched in to their spot in the standings. They're not catching the Washington Capitals. The Devils aren't going to track them down because they're still 7 back of Carolina and Carolina's got 3 games in hand. So this is playing out the string kind of time for the Carolina Hurricanes. And the Islanders have got utmost desperation here. And look, say what you will about the Islanders and, falling down 3-0. They actually had a ton of chance. They outplayed Tampa as far as shots and chances and territorials in the game. And it only took until the third period to get the goals to go in. But, there's just so much more on the line here for the Islanders going into this game. They've got a lot of history with Carolina, too. These teams have played each other in the playoffs in the past as well between these two teams. The Islanders have played Carolina tough. Now, a lot of the wins have been in Long Island and Carolina. It's been tougher sledding for the Islanders to win, but they did beat Carolina back in January, albeit that game, as I mentioned, was at UBS Arena, 3-2 in overtime. We'll see how this one plays out. I'm going to do a dog and draw split here, too. It's just plus 280 is too big. Minus 360 is too big for Carolina in this spot, in my opinion. Just a little too big. I mean, they can obviously win. They're the better team. And they can prove that they can beat a team that's motivated because they did it against Montreal. But again, this is just a little bit of a too high of a price here, in my opinion. Minus 340, to take a shot with an ultra-motivated underdog that has actually been able to play the Hurricanes tough. I will. The draw I'm going to take as well. Like I said, dog and draw split. I don't love this over nearly as much, but we have to ride the Islanders overs. It's been 7 straight full game overs. Game may start off slow, but that's been the pattern with the Islanders. The first period, obviously, with the Tampa game had a lot of goals. That was the one exception, but a lot of the Islander overs that have been cashing, the first period has started off kind of slow, and then the goals have basically been flying left and right, second period, third period, in a lot of these games. But, we're riding it. 7 straight overs for the Islanders. Carolina, it's only 5.5, so we will take over 5.5 here, minus 120. In this game as well. So that's what we're doing. Islanders and draw split small over 5.5, minus 120 as well. Again, win or lose, you're taking a, like kind of with Calgary. Do I regret betting Calgary? I regret that they lost. That sucks. But I don't regret making that bet. A big underdog price. The more the team that's playing with their season on the line with the added sense of urgency, you're not going to win all these games because, you're playing. Carolina's a better team than the New York Islanders. You're not splitting the fucking atom, figuring that one out. But we're talking about a minus 360 favorite with not much at stake down the road or down the line the rest of this season. They're locked into their spot. They're going to be a second place team in the Metro Division. They're not catching Washington. They're not going to get tracked down from behind by New Jersey. This game is just another game to finish out the string. And for the Islanders, this is like oxygen. They need this win with where they are in the standings. And I'm okay taking a plus 280 dog in that situation. And by the way, because of the Rangers winning last night, 74 points for the New York Islanders means they're now 3 points back of the Rangers for that second wild card spot. But the Islanders do have 2 games in hand on the New York Rangers, which is the good news for them going into this game, no question. So, this, again, probably not a game I would have bet the over if I wasn't riding the Islander overs, but it's been great. They've been cashing. They've been hitting. So that's why we're taking it again, the over here in this game, 5.5. Tony DeAngelo, man, we got to bet him now. 5 straight games with a point for this Islanders team. He's now scored in 2 straight. Tony DeAngelo for the Islanders, Taylor Hall for the Carolina Hurricanes. Those are your 2 consecutive goal streak players, consecutive game goal streak players going into this game. So Taylor Hall, Carolina, and shockingly Tony DeAngelo for the for the New York Islanders. Let's give the New York Islanders credit. They brought in Tony DeAngelo, and I wasn't sure. We know what he can be off the ice. Bit of a character, bit of an enigma. Kind of can, be a detriment in the dressing room sometimes. Just ask Carolina, just ask Philadelphia, or the Rangers for that matter. But he scored in back-to-back games, and he's on this wicked 5-game point streak, points in 6 of the last 7 games as well for Tony D on the blue line for the New York Islanders. So, yeah, Tony DeAngelo props are something you got to look at here. Taylor Hall's gotten a goal in 3 straight games. That's a prop you probably got to look at. Now, you're not getting the great prices anymore with Taylor Hall, just north of plus 200 for him to score a goal, but you're still getting really great prices. I'm going back to the well with Jackson Blake. I know that puck was put in an own goal from Caden Gooley that got credited to Jackson Blake. I get it. So it really wasn't his goal. But again, he deserved that just only because he's had a bunch of chances and the spot he's been in the lineup. He's had glorious opportunities. I'm going to take him again to score here. Jackson Blake alongside Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis on that top line for the Carolina Hurricanes. Logan Stankoven, Robert liking Logan Stankoven. Logan Stankoven in a bit of a goal-scoring drought, although he does have 3 points in the last 6 games for the Carolina Hurricanes. All of them assists, though. So we'll see how this one plays out. But like I said, Blake, Hall, Tony DeAngelo, like I say, there's actually some pretty good prop opportunities here in this game. So all of those games we just talked about, by the way, goaltending for this game, I don't think we have confirmation, but we have Marcus Hogberg in net for the New York Islanders. I don't think this is a huge downgrade at the moment, believe it or not, because Sorokin has been, let's be honest, Sorokin's been trashed the last few games. If you watch this guy play, he's given up a few too many short, soft goals. I haven't loved his play of late. I don't think it's like Hogberg's an enigma too, but I'm telling you what, Sorokin's not been in his top flight form lately. So the fact he's starting, I don't mind it for the Islanders here in this game. Pyotr Kochetkov projected to be in net for Carolina. but we'll see if he gets the start. Like I said, Sorokin's not been any good the last few games. So you watch him. You watch that Vancouver game when he got pulled. Those 2 goals that broke the Islanders back in that game, those goals shouldn't have gone in. Those are goals that those are shots that Sorokin has to save, has to make that stop, and he didn't do that. So I don't think it's the worst idea in the world for Patrick. And it is back-to-back, so maybe this was going to be Hogberg anyway. But and by the way, apparently he wants it pronounced that way. Even he's Swedish. You would not think he'd want it pronounced that way, but apparently it's Marcus. It's not Hogberg. Apparently it's Hogberg. So like the hog, pig suey, that kind of hog. But so yeah, Hogberg going to get the start here for the Carolina Hurricanes for the New York Islanders in this game. So all those games were afternoon games. The next 2 games are the night games, both of them in the state of California. We've got Toronto and Anaheim as the Leafs wrap up this California road trip. We've got Toronto minus 170 road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. We've seen enough evidence lately from Toronto that the San Jose game, the Nashville game, I don't love taking this team at this price against weaker foes. I just don't. And coming off a big win like they had last night against the LA Kings, come back and win in the third period. But let's see what they do in net, because Joe Woll's kind of hit a Joe wall, as in he's hit a wall as far as his play. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been great for the last 2 weeks. It really hasn't been as great since the Four Nations break, Joseph Woll. And this is supposed to be a scheduled start for him, with Stolarz being the guy last night in the win against the Kings. But there's rumblings that they may go back to Stolarz here. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Nothing's been confirmed as of yet here for this Toronto team, but we'll wait on that. And that's kind of what I'm waiting on. Now, the road overs have not worked out well for me with the Leafs last night. And I knew that was a risk because LA, especially at home when they lose, they really focus in more on defense. And we saw that. So I knew it was a bit of a risk taking the Leaf over by Facta, but again, it was just riding the road trends that LJ in our chat. Shout out to LJ from H-Town, great guy in the chat, mentioning that the Toronto 11-2 first period over, last 13 on the road. It's been pretty strong. Could this be, after a tight checking affair last night, Toronto might be trying to play a little more, not pond hockey or shinny hockey, but let the horses out of the barn, out of the stable, if you will, a bit more tonight here on this back-to-back. Anaheim's been trending over. That much I know. 5-1 to the over their last 10. They've been scoring 3, 4, 6, 5 in 4 of their last 5 games as well. They've scored 11 goals. Now, that was the Rangers and the Bruins. We do have to keep that in mind. Quality of competition leaves a lot to be desired. But they have given up 11 goals in their last 2 games. Yeah, we'll go back to the first period over, full game over, the Leaf road overs tonight. It didn't cash last night with LA, but I think that was more to do with LA. I'm going back and I'm looking again at here's again, before the LA game, look at these road games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it speaks volumes about how, strong they've been for overs. San Jose, 6-5, first period, full game over. The Nashville game, 5-2, first period, full game over. The Ranger game on the road, 4-3, first period, full game over, cashed. At Utah, the hockey club, first period, full game over, both cashed for Toronto. At Colorado, that was about as easy as it gets with the first period and the full game over in that game. The Toronto at Vegas game, first period over, full game over, cashed. The at Pittsburgh game, 6-5, first period over, full game over, cashed. Then the one before that finally stayed under, the game at the Rangers. So before last night's LA 3-1 victory, before that game, which obviously stayed under, first period, full game, before that game, the Toronto Maple Leafs had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight road games, cash first period and full game over prior to last night's game against the LA Kings. So I think we get back to that tonight. Anaheim will oblige in an up and down affair. And so that's and by the way, this total's really jumped. This total was 6, and it's gone to 6.5. So there's clearly people thinking there will be goals in this game. So that's it for me, though. First period over, full game over. That's all I'm going to bet here. Nothing with either side here in this game. And then as far as props go, the draw, Aaron, yeah, I mean, It could be a draw. I don't mind it. Yeah, and when you see that kind of history, I think I may have to dabble in the draw. 3 of the last 5 meetings, 3 of the last 6 meetings have gone past regulation between these two teams. So it's possible we see overtime. Hell, we saw Toronto San Jose go to overtime. If Toronto San Jose goes to overtime, then there's definitely a possibility that Toronto and Anaheim can go to overtime. Yeah, Tavares, you got to just ride the wave with Johnny Tavares. I mean, you just do. He's been terrific. He's on a 5-game goal scoring streak. It's still, for a guy that's on a 5-game goal scoring streak, plus 180 is still a pretty solid price, quite honestly. Cutter Gauthier, 2 games in a row with a goal, plus 450. I like that. Leo Carlson, 2 games in a row with a goal for Anaheim, upwards of plus 340. I think that's a very good price. McTavish with 2 games in a row with a goal for the Anaheim Ducks. So there's some really good looks here as far as props. 6-game point streak for Tavares, 4-game point streak for Alex Killorn, a 4-game point streak for Kookie, lend me Lacombe. Jackson Lacombe with a 4-game point streak for Anaheim. So there's definitely some props worth a look here in this game between the Leafs and the Ducks. It'll be interesting to see if Nick Robertson got scratched close to home last night. Berube didn't play him. We'll have to see if he's back in the lineup tonight, because we kind of thought, being a California guy, maybe he'd be back in the lineup. Olin Zellweger, that's not a bad player to throw out there from Nick in the chat. Olin Zellweger, because he's playing on that second pair, getting a few more minutes lately, scored a goal, got an assist against the Rangers. He's now got points in 2 of the last 3, so keep an eye on him. Good young defenseman. Still developing, but I think he's going to be a pretty good one here for Anaheim. All right, next up, final game of this Sunday slate, San Jose Sharks, Los Angeles Kings. We've got LA, huge favorites, minus 360, home favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5, shaded to the over. I'd be honest, this is the one game I did not bet. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. It's just, I don't want San Jose, clearly, especially against an LA team off a loss at home where they've been so good all year. And Jim Hiller was not happy about a bunch of things last night. Wasn't happy about the Matthews goal. He thought that shouldn't have counted. He was not happy about his team's play in the 3rd period of that game, trying to protect the lead. Obviously, blowing a lead going into the 3rd period for LA, especially on home ice, is not something they're accustomed to doing. So I think it's one of those deals where this is LA or pass, but there's no value, minus 360. What are you going to do? So, there's not much you can take a first period puck line, I guess, but it's not a great price with that. It's even money, plus 100, plus 105 for first period puck line. So don't love the price on that necessarily. You sometimes want to back team total over in this spot with the Kings, minus 135, but they might be just comfortable winning 3-0 or 3-1 in this game. So, like I said, it's just, this is just an ugly game. I don't want any part of San Jose, but LA, I think, comes back and wins. Maybe you do an alternate puck line. Maybe this is a put the boots to San Jose spot. That's the only thing I would consider. If you want to get involved, if you insist on getting involved in this game, then maybe take a shot with some alternate puck lines, minus 2.5, minus 3.5 on LA. Maybe they can win this like a 5-1 or a 4-0 type of deal, and really just put a beat down on San Jose, because I think certainly they're not thrilled with the way they played last night. And with Edmonton winning, puts more pressure on LA to try to win, because home ice for that Oilers-Kings series, that likely Oilers-Kings series, is going to be very, very important. So that's about it for me with that game. Not going to do much with it. Prop-wise, Byfield, I'm interested. Laferriere, interesting, because he finally scored last night. Does that get him rolling? I always think he should have scored a few times the last week or two. So maybe Alex Laferriere gets things rolling a bit for the Kings. There you have it. That's the Sunday card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, get on board patreon.com/iceguys. Just $10 per month. We have 3 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up Thursday, April 3rd, later this week. Then we've got 2 the following week, April 10th on Tuesday, April 10th on the Thursday. So 3 Patreon exclusive live betcasts in the early part of April. To watch those betcasts and to join us on the stream, you must be a Patreon member. So make sure you sign up. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/iceguys. Just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, and of course, goalie charts, totals charts, the daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Yeah, Toffoli's a good option in that game. You're right. Former King, now with the Sharks. He might be the one guy that maybe scores for San Jose. But yeah, patreon.com/Ice Guys. $10 per month. Make sure you get on board. And again, we've got 3 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up in the next couple weeks. So make sure you sign up. And again, your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going long term. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. And check out the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch. A lot of great options, new items as well. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey Ian, I gotta tell you about this app I've been using lately called Kalshi. Kalshi.com. Did you know it's the only place where you can trade on March Madness in all 50 U.S. states?
I have heard about this, actually. Kalshi is the first and only legal prediction market that lets you trade on real-world events with the look and feel of stock trading, whether it's who will win elections, who will win the Grammy or Oscar awards, or what the price of Bitcoin will hit this year. You can bet you trade on just about anything on Kalshi.
With over 1 million users across all 50 states and over $1 billion worth of trades, Kalshi is an absolute game changer. And with March Madness coming to a close, baseball about to get in the full swing, playoffs on the horizon in hockey and basketball, now's the time to sign up to trade with Kalshi today.
Sign up at kalshi.com/iceguys, and the first 500 traders to join and trade 100 contracts, you will get a free $10 credit added to your account. So don't miss out on all the action. Join Kalshi today at kalshi.com/iceguys. That's kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com and kalshi.com/iceguys, a great trading platform, not just sports, crypto. You can bet on the Oscars, any awards show, you name it. It's a great trading platform. And again, you get a $10 credit if you sign up using that link, kalshi.com/iceguys. I will be posting that link in the YouTube description every day moving forward. So make sure you give them a shot and check them out. Great trading platform. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this card. Lots of good options, believe it or not, for this slate. As far as a bargain bin is concerned, I'm going to go to that Leafs-Ducks game. I'm feeling it with Leo Carlsson right now. He's playing really well. Back-to-back games with a goal. I think this is some of the better hockey I've seen from him, certainly this season, maybe of his entire 2-year career so far in the NHL. Like what I'm seeing. Think he has a great chance to get on the board tonight facing a Leaf team on the back-to-back. We'll go with Leo Carlson for the Anaheim Ducks, plus 350 for my bargain bin special of the night here for this Sunday NHL slate. Best bet for me for this Sunday NHL slate. A lot of good choices out there as far as best bet. But I think I'm going to go right back to the well once again with another. No, I'm not going to go Islanders over today. I almost did. It's been so good, but I don't like it near. I bet over 5.5 in that, and I like it in that Islanders Hurricanes game, but I don't think I'm going to use it for best bet. I'm going to go with Ottawa Pittsburgh over 6 for best bet. Ottawa Pittsburgh over 6 minus 115. We're talking about a Pittsburgh team that I think shows a little bit of pride today, and if the pride's going to show up, it'll be offensively because they can't defend worth a lick. We don't trust their goaltenders. To be honest, I don't trust Forsberg fully for Ottawa. So I think both teams find the back of the net. I think Ottawa gets to 4, but I think Pittsburgh scores too in this game. Shows a little offensive pride. Pittsburgh's been on a consecutive game over streak, by the way, entering this game. So let's go with that. Ottawa, Pittsburgh, over 6, minus 115. That will be my Sunday best bet here for the Ice Guys show. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to obviously a big Sunday slate. And then we'll be back tomorrow and 3 betcasts coming up in 3 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you get on board. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Be with us for those betcasts. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of the Ice Guys.